The governor of the U.S. state of South Carolina has called for the removal of the Civil War-era Confederate flag from State House grounds. The decision comes following a terrorist attack on a church in the city of Charleston, which killed 9 worshippers last week.
Today, we are here in a moment of unity in our state, without ill will, to say it's time to move the flag from the Capitol grounds.
Haley denounced the flag as a symbol of hate. She said time has come for the removal of the flag after 150 years following the Civil War. The shooter of Wednesday's attack had allegedly embraced the flag as a symbol of white supremacy. Supporters of the flag say it is a memorial to fallen Confederate soldiers, but opponents believe it is a symbol of hate put atop a State House dome against the civil rights movement. The flag was carried into battle by forces supporting the pro-slavery secessionist states during the American Civil War in the 19th century. Let's speak to our correspondent Caleb Maupin now, who joins us via Skype from New York with the details. Now, Caleb, of course, the terrorist attack on Wednesday night in Charleston sparked the debate on the Confederate flag. How is this decision now, this call rather, by the governor being received in other quarters?
Well, the question that seems to be on the minds of millions of Americans is, why is that flag on display currently? Why does it take a terrorist attack on a church to have the flag removed? I mean, this flag is very much the symbol of people who took up arms, took up weapons to overthrow the U.S. government in order to preserve slavery. It was an armed rebellion by slaveholders against the U.S. government that took place in the 19th century, which was defeated. And why is it on display? That flag really doesn't represent any currently existing institution, and it's largely understood throughout U.S. society when someone displays the Confederate flag, they're not expressing support for the Confederate States of America, an entity that no longer exists. They're really basically expressing hostility toward African Americans. And that's widely understood. And that's why people are wondering, why was this flag on display to begin with? And why is it only after a horrendous massacre that it's being taken down?
Right. Now, Caleb, of course, what does this say for the massacre as a whole that took place on Wednesday night? We all know it was a hate crime, racially motivated. However, it seems that the debate is restricted to just a flag and gun control.
Well, absolutely. As much as people have tried to depoliticize what took place, it's blatantly obvious that the killer, the terrorist, was motivated by racism. This is a young man who displayed the flags of apartheid South Africa, as well as the flag of the no longer existing country of Rhodesia. And he openly talked about white supremacist ideas, openly expressed hatred for African Americans. This was a young man who very much considered himself to be part of the white supremacist movement and was motivated by hate and anger. And he went and murdered African Americans in an African American church, a historical African American church, mind you, a church that was actually at the center of one of the most important slave rebellions that took place in the U.S. So this was a blatantly political act, and no one seems to want to talk about it. So much rhetoric in the United States seems to involve the fact that now that Obama has been elected, they say the U.S. is in a post-racial society. Racism is gone. Racism no longer exists. Look, we have an African-American president, therefore racism is gone. But that's clearly not the case. If you see what's going on with the police around the country, and now you see what happened with this young man who walked into a church motivated by racist hate and committed a horrendous act of terrorism, obviously the U.S. has huge problems regarding racism, and the issue of racism is not in the past, it's in the present.
All right, let's leave it there for now. That's Press TV's Caleb Maupin reporting from New York via Skype. Caleb, thanks very much indeed.